Wednesday evening to you, and thanks for joining us in Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. A bit of a messy day across northern Michigan, weather-wise, between some snow, some freezing rain, and some wind. Let's bring in our meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. And Joe, are things calming down for the night, or what else can we expect in the overnight hours?
Well, one thing tonight, it's actually going to warm up tonight. So I know we're in the 30s and 40s. Some spots will jump into the 50s tonight, just for a little while.
Okay.
But that's good news, though, for the folks up north, because there's still a lot of ice, Maya, on buildings, power lines, trees. And so I think what will help tonight is as we warm up a little bit, we'll get some melting tonight, actually, which is good because we have a round of wind coming in tomorrow, and that melting that ice just gets the weight off of all that.
Sure.
So we'll talk about that and look at toward the weekend. You know, I think we get finally now a little bit of a break in the weather, which we all need. We'll talk about that and have that full forecast in a few minutes.
All right. Thank you, Joe. And after the weekend's significant ice storms, people across northern Michigan are slowly starting to get their power back. Both Petoskey substations came back online this morning, but with many residents still in need, some places remain open as warming shelters. You are seeing a picture from the Odawa Casino. They've been serving the community as a nonstop shelter since Monday. It's been open 24/7, and even with power returning, staff say they are going to continue serving 3 meals a day as they have been throughout the entire storm. So staff say they started with just food from within the casino, and they were eventually serving upwards of 500 people thanks to donations from the community.
Some people just put in hours and hours. Some aren't even getting really any sleep. They're staying up, taking care of things. So just from internally, that's just been amazing. And then, you know, for the people that are out of power and they have no place to go, just having that for them. I mean, there's people in here that need to, you know, if they don't have electricity, it's not a good thing for their health.
And staff say there are no plans to shutter the warming center for now, and certainly not tonight. Again, this is a 24/7 service, and we have seen multiple businesses and community members really step up this week to help those impacted by the devastating ice storms over the weekend. One cafe in Kalkaska is preparing meals to bring to Gaylord tomorrow. The Beehive Cafe has been serving 90 meals, breakfast and lunch, to all linemen that are currently staying in Kalkaska. But tomorrow afternoon, the cafe staff will be driving their food truck to Gaylord with 400 free meals for people in the area. The food truck will be located at the Meyer gas station in Gaylord, and they will serve meals until they run out.
The outpouring of love has been overwhelming and amazing. And yeah, it's because of everybody in the community that's allowing us to be able to do this.
The cafe is accepting monetary donations to continue to make more trips and distribute meals in Gaylord. And speaking of trips and different people in the community stepping in to help those in need, Captain Greg Bach with the Salvation Army in Cadillac has been making multiple trips to help different communities. So he is joining us live now. And Captain Bach, tell us what the past couple of days have been like for you. Where have you been traveling to?
Yeah, I've been coming from Cadillac up to Sheboygan to the service extension here on South Main Street.
And what have you been doing in Sheboygan?
Yeah, so what we've been doing in Sheboygan is we've been using the Emergency Disaster Services canteen that we have and serving hot meals out of it. We've been serving, you know, grocery items, snacks, bottled water out of the canteen. Just trying to fill in the gap between people who don't have power or don't have a way to eat a hot meal, and, you know, for when the time comes, it comes back on, that in between time, when they don't have a way to eat a hot meal or get some food, we have that for them.
Sure. So how many of these trips from Cadillac to Sheboygan have you been taking?
Yeah, so I came up Monday night with somebody else. We drove up pretty late Monday night and got the food from the Sheboygan Service Extension here in Sheboygan and took it back down to Cadillac, where Willow Primos cooked some of the food that we had, and also Res Life Church let us use their kitchen. We had some cooks there making the hot food. So I've taken about 6 trips back and forth between Cadillac and Sheboygan so far.
Wow. Have you had any issues with gas? I know not downstate, but more in like southern, northern Michigan counties, gas hasn't been too big of an issue, but up maybe near Sheboygan, I know it could be a different story.
Yeah, no, Sheboygan didn't have any running gas stations yesterday. I think there might be one or two today. Power is back on, at least at the Salvation Army here in Sheboygan. There were a few gas stations in Gaylord that had gas. But I was kind of hoping I wouldn't run out of gas between Sheboygan and Cadillac. It's only a 2-hour drive. So I've been filling up, in Mantalona or Kalkaska before I got up to, or Houghton Lake before I got up to Sheboygan, on the trips I've been taking. So it hasn't been too bad. Creative Embroidery from Cadillac gave me 6 gas cans, 5 gallons each, full of gas to bring up here just in the event that I run out of gas and need gas. So Cadillac has really taken care of me coming up to Sheboygan and also of the Sheboygan community when it was really needed the most.
Yeah, that is amazing. So what is Sheboygan looking like right now? We have seen some pictures, but for you are seeing all of the damage and recovery firsthand. What has that been like?
Yeah, it's kind of surreal. It kind of looks like a scene from Frozen. The Disney movie Frozen, where she blasts the ice out of her hands and everything turns to ice. That's what it's like here right now. Even today, it was yesterday was sunshine. Today is rainy and kind of gloomy. Still around town, there are trees down in people's homes, and their yards. I was driving down the road today in Sheboygan and I saw a tree limb that was hanging in one of the power lines. So the fact that we have power, most folks, I think, in town have power. Kudos to those linemen that are working their absolute hardest and their best to get power back restored. But it's quite a sight coming up 75.
Yeah, I love the picture you painted with comparing it to the movie Frozen. But of course, in this situation, not a Disney movie, no one singing any songs. So it's kind of like a darker version of that movie. But what has the response been from the community members in Sheboygan who you have been able to help provide these essential services, really?
They have been very, very, very appreciative of what we've been able to do for them. From doctors that stopped by to families with kids. There was a guy today that came all the way from Indian River, and he said, I've looked everywhere for formula, and we just don't have, I can't find it anywhere. Is there any chance that you happen to have formula? And we were able to get him some formula we had brought up from Cadillac and a case of water to take back for his kids, so for his baby. So they've been very receptive, very appreciative of it. And just the fact that they know that there's people just south of them that really, really, really care. Sheboygan means a lot to me. I ran the service extension in Sheboygan from 13 to 2016. So the opportunity to come back and take care of these people where I joined the Salvation Army, where it all started for me as an employee of Salvation Army, it meant a lot that I could come back and do that. And people have been very receptive. They've tried to hand money through the window to get items. And we've said, no, that's not necessary. And still people insist on taking money for the stuff we provide for them. But just so people know, everything we have to offer throughout this week for support is free of charge. There's no charge for it. And the reason why we can do that is because people give all year long to the Sheboygan Service Extension, to Salvation Armies all across the area, so we can really meet the needs when it matters the most. And right now, it matters the most.
Absolutely. And if anyone watching right now maybe wants to help out someone who is struggling in one of these impacted communities, what can they do? Yeah,
they can they can write a check. They can send it to 444 South Main Street, Sheboygan, Michigan, 49721. Just came off the top of my head. I remembered that. They can go online to sasheboygan.com or just Google Salvation Army Sheboygan. It'll pop up with the website for this location, and they can give online that way as well. They can bring donations right to the place, and we'll make sure it goes to the area right here. If they're in Cadillac watching and they want to give, they can take non-perishable food items, bottled water, batteries, to Creative Embroidery, which is on Plitt Road, or just take it to 725 Wright Street there in Cadillac.
All right, good to know, Captain Bach. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much for all your help with people up in Sheboygan, getting them, like I said, the resources they need. We really appreciate you talking with us today. We are going to switch gears now and continue our Exploring Michigan series. Today we are staying in Grand Traverse County, and we are talking about a place with a whole lot of history, from a hospital to a pretty empty, abandoned property to now a pretty thriving multi-use building. The Commons in Grand Traverse County has quite the history, quite the story, and Mark Shillette is here to share that with you tonight.
This was originally opened in 1885 as the Northern Michigan Asylum, later named the Traverse City State Hospital, and it was a hospital for the mentally ill, and it was open for 104 years when it closed in 1989.
And that's when the dozens of buildings needed to operate and support the state hospital faced a very uncertain future, until Raymond Minervini stepped in and had a bold redevelopment plan for the almost 1 million square feet in all of the buildings.
And know that it possibly couldn't be here it would just be heartbreaking. It would just be heartbreaking to not have this wonderful community of people and of all the businesses that are here.
The proposed wrecking ball was set aside and restoration and repurposing work began. 20 years later, the Grand Traverse Commons and Building 50 have become an example of amazing and respectful transformations, as well as a draw for locals and visitors alike.
Not only our shopping, which we're in the Mercado here, so we have over a dozen locally owned boutique shops down here, dining options for all day, whether you're grabbing your coffee and your pastry in the morning or sticking around for brunch. We have wonderful lunch places, beautiful dinner restaurants here, happy hour. We have a winery and a brewery.
The Mercado, packed with shops and restaurants and local artists' work, as well as the farmers market in winter months. In warmer weather, even more to explore outside.
We're here in the beautiful summer months. Of course, we have wonderful hiking trails and beautiful places to explore outside of the building.
And if actually exploring the building and its rich history is high on your list, well, they have you covered on that as well.
We offer a 1 hour tours daily. So if you want to just come in, stay inside Building 50, get a little taste of the history, or you can jump into one of our 2-hour guided tours. And those take you kind of all over the property. You head out to some of that undeveloped area, so you get to see really what it's like before they begin the restoration process. And all of our tours take you through the 1883 steam tunnels that run underneath the building.
This was almost lost to time, but a well-executed vision, determination, and a belief that these buildings still had more to offer the community has it finding a new purpose with a new energy for all.
You really have all day to explore here. Find something from one of our local shops, grab your coffee and just walk around Building 50 and really feel what this historical structure has been turned into.
That was Mark Shillette reporting. And if you haven't taken a tour of the Commons, I highly recommend it. Next time you're up in Traverse City, maybe it's a rainy day, a great thing to do. All right, before the break, one more story to share with you. We are talking about after-school programs. Now, there are a number of benefits to after-school programs, from better attendance and grades to enhancing social skills. But unfortunately, there is a shortage of after-school programs here in Northern Michigan. According to a new study by Michigan State University, they consider Traverse City specifically an after-school desert, meaning there just aren't enough spots open for all the kids who want to be a part of an after-school program.
To have a safe place, parents can feel comfortable at work, knowing their children are taken care of, knowing they're safe, knowing they're happy. That makes our area better for employers, for employees, for everyone.
And coming up tonight at 11, a look into what's leading to this shortage and the efforts underway to address it. So in your community, do you think there are enough after-school programs? Let's pull up our question of the day really quick. Do you think there are enough after-school programs in your community? Scan the QR code on your screen right now. I'll tell you, 64% of voters at this point are saying no. We will take a look at the results and read some of your comments at the end of the show. Right now, we are going to take a quick commercial break, but straight ahead, Joe will have much more on the forecast for the rest of the evening and into our Thursday. Stay with us.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Welcome back. It was another eventful day weather-wise, and I'm sure a lot of us across northern Michigan really could use a break in all of this kind of nasty weather. So, Joe, will we see a break tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so. The only thing tomorrow, it's going to be windy and pretty gusty too tomorrow afternoon. So we'll have the wind, but other than that, I think it looks pretty quiet. And we get actually now multiple days of quiet weather coming up here. So I think we could use that.
Definitely.
Look at our camera, and Maya was just pointing out, we do have the Mackinac Bridge camera back. It's operational. It's just encased in ice still in the upper left corner there. So you can kind of make out the bridge a little bit there. We'll see if we can melt some of that ice tonight. We're actually going to warm up a little bit tonight. Traverse City, Cadillac, Houghton Lake, pretty cloudy, pretty dreary this evening. Here's a look, though, at our weather map. Low pressure sits just crossing the Mississippi River. That's on the way north of Lake Superior. And the reason we're going to warm up, you see that red line? That is a warm front, and that warm front for a brief time is going to lift into the area, and we'll get in on some of the warmer air south of that boundary. In fact, take a look how warm it is. Look at the difference along this front. Grand Rapids is 46. You jump down to Chicago at 63. Detroit's only 43. Detroit's similar as it is here in northern Michigan. Then Indianapolis is 80. It's 80 degrees there. That's not all that far away from us this evening. Here's a look at our radar and satellite picture over the last 12 hours. We really did not get a lot of snow today. There was some coating the ground this morning. We actually got less than I thought. There are still some showers around. You can kind of see a few of these here. Let me pull up the radar. Around the Grand Traverse region, a little bit of a wintry mix still across parts of the UP. Meanwhile, in the deep south, a severe weather outbreak ongoing with multiple tornado warnings across parts of Tennessee, Arkansas, and to even Illinois tonight. Severe weather there. Here are the current temperatures. We're in the 30s, some 40s, but watch what happens overnight. We actually warm up later tonight, right there into the 50s in some spots. That's good news because up north where we've had all the tree damage, we'll start melting maybe some of that ice off some of the trees, some of the power lines up that way. As far as the actual weather is concerned, a few showers ending, maybe a flurry or two north tomorrow. Nice day. There's Friday, partly cloudy, and just a few showers Saturday morning. But that's it as we head toward the weekend. It is going to be windy tomorrow. I mentioned that. Here's a look. The wind shifts out of the west right there. Gusts to 40, maybe 50 miles per hour in a few spots. So extended forecast looks like this. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, relatively quiet. No big warm up on the way. In fact, early next week, Maya, still a couple snow showers hanging around here as we head into April.
The wintry weather just doesn't want to end.
Not quite yet.
Thanks, Joe. We are going to take a quick commercial break, but we will check in with sports director Harrison Beebe in a few minutes. Stick with us. The Pistons back in action tonight, taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. For more, let's bring in sports director Harrison Beebe live from our content center. And Harrison, we know the Thunder, one of the best teams in the NBA, but what else makes this game significant for the Pistons?
Oh, it's on ESPN, so that's something the Pistons haven't been able to pull off too much. Actually, it wasn't originally, but the league decided to flex the game based on how well the Pistons have been performing this season. They now get a nationally televised game here now, a few weeks before the playoffs, which it's looking like they're going to be a playoff team. I believe the magic number is 2 entering the night. I think a Piston win and an Atlanta Hawks loss would put them officially in the top 6 for the Eastern Conference. And while we're talking about the top 6, let's go ahead and take a look. Here are the standings. For a while there, it was like, oh, great, the Pistons are in. They're going to be in the play-in. And then they got to the 6th seed for a while. It's like, wow, it's looking like we're going to have a world where the Pistons are going to play the New York Knicks in the first round. And now, as it stands, there's only a game between them, but the Pistons have passed the Milwaukee Bucks. Right now, the Pistons would play the Pacers in a classic rivalry. I mean, these two teams really, the Pistons are fighting everybody from what we can gather in all these games. But like, I recall some of those Pacer games earlier this year. It's getting really chippy between those two teams. So that could be your 4-5 matchup and give the Pistons a great shot to win a first round series if it happens in a few weeks here. So we'll find out. But who just thought this was going to happen a year ago when we were putting the finishing touches on their worst season in franchise history, and now here they are bouncing back. They could win a playoff series this year.
Talk about a comeback season. My gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's why we watch sports, right? You hung with the Lions all those years, and now they're making you appreciate all that times you were in the dumps watching them. And Tigers update for them. They were in action this afternoon against the Seattle Mariners, and they were hoping for the sweep. That did not go as planned, although they had the bases loaded in the 9th, hoping to bring home the tying run at least, maybe even the go-ahead run. But Seattle held on for a 3-2 win to avoid the sweep. Next Tiger game, they're off tomorrow, will be Friday at home, where I'll be for opening day.
Exciting stuff, Harrison. I'm excited to check in with you on Friday. Hopefully you'll be able to join us live from Comerica Park with a recap of what your day was looking like there for the home opener of the Tiger season. Harrison, thanks so much for joining us. We do need to take another quick break, but coming up in just a couple of minutes, we will take a look at the live results for our question of the day and read a few of your comments. That's next.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Coming up tonight at 11, we'll have a story looking at the shortage of after-school programs across northern Michigan. So our question today is, do you think there are enough after-school programs in your community? 63% say no, 37% say yes. Over on Facebook, Addie says, Petoskey, definitely not. There is one after-school program. And Heather says, I will say that as a working parent, once your child ages out of daycare or preschool, it is extremely hard to find after school, summer, and snow day care. You can join the conversation on our Facebook page and be sure to join us tonight on UpNorthLive News at 11 for that full story. That will do it for Unscripted. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great night.